Hey there, gang. Patrick King here, coming to you live from Woodstock, Illinois. Just finished up a series of clinics throughout Wisconsin. Going to be teaching a private clinic tomorrow here in Woodstock. Today's question is a great one, I think, because of how much so many areas are dealing with severe cold lately. These cold spells this winter. There's been a lot of areas hit with some unseasonably cold weather. So today's question comes to us from Patty, and Patty asks, how would you go about helping to get a horse over being terrified of being zapped? Let me explain. I had a blanket on my horse for an extreme cold weather spell. I was taking it off of him in the paddock, and he just stood there without a halter on and let me do all that I needed to take it off. I got it off. He put his head down, I put my hand up, and unintentionally zapped him. He snorted, jumped, and ran away. I let him settle and walked to him to relax him. I didn't touch him or put my hand up, but he ran off again. It took some time for him to relax, but I did eventually get that to happen. How do I help him get over this? So this is something that, I think when it comes time for blanketing, we're going to deal with a lot of this static electricity that's going to cause these zaps to happen. And my simple answer is going to be make sure we're prepared to do this. So kind of putting myself in the shoes in this situation, I would have tried to make sure that I had a halter and lead on my horse when I was going to be blanketing or unblanketing. Now, aside from the basic safety precautions for this, particularly if we're blanketing or unblanketing out in a paddock, who knows? Horses can be horses, and people can be people, and mistakes just happen sometimes. So it's always best to be prepared and have a halter on our horse so that we've got control in that type of a situation, because heaven forbid somebody were to spook or jump, or say we slip and fall on the ice or the poor footing or something like that when the blanket's only half on or when the straps aren't completely connected. I've seen so many unintentional accidents happen and injuries happen because of silly little mistakes where in almost every situation, we regret that we didn't just have a halter on the horse in the first place. So I would say always be prepared with the halter and lead on your horse in a situation like that. It's probably not even a bad idea in the stall, because I've seen this happen in a stall, and people get run over. Horses bolt and spook and slam into the walls and things like that, and then things, turn south really quick. So that's about the preparation. Particularly now in this situation when we've got a horse that unintentionally gets zapped by the static electricity. If we're not connected, as Patty mentioned in this situation, the horse is most likely to bolt away. And that's only going to kind of perpetuate the fear situation in that moment. Can't blame the horse for that. As far as he knows, we just reached up and shocked him just like the electric fence would. And as far as he's concerned, he put his trust in us, and we kind of did him wrong in that situation. Now, of course, it's accidental. It's unintentional. If we have the halter on in a situation like that, we're better prepared to apologize to our horse. So is there something that we can do to get our horse used to being zapped and shocked like that? If there was, I probably wouldn't want to do it anyway. I don't see where shock therapy, zapping a horse with static electricity, would be doing anybody any good, because then, gosh, I just wouldn't want to think about that, Then we'd be desensitizing him to things like an electric fence and things like that, if we got him okay with being zapped with that. And that would just seem silly. So that's a situation, to me, just like having to give vaccinations to your horse. That's a situation where we're just prepared, and we spend the time apologizing, preparing ahead of time. Lots of petting, lots of grooming, a little desensitizing kind of stuff like that. And then in the situations where that happens, we just got to apologize to him and go back to grooming and brushing and maybe a little desensitizing again in that situation. And I would also suggest make sure that we can move our horse's feet around when he gets nervous, if he gets zapped and he gets upset. We move him around and say, hey, okay, I'm really sorry, but here's where we can move those feet so that when you get upset, I'll help you learn how to manage the movement aspect there. then again, of course, going back and kind of apologizing to our horse for that. So the short answer for us, Patty, in this situation, and for anybody else in this situation, is when you're blanketing your horse, we all know that's a potentially dangerous situation anyway because of the straps and the size of the blankets and things like that. Add to it that extra challenge, that sneaky, pesky static electricity that pops up, especially in the cold weather like this. It's just a good idea to have a halter on there. It's gonna help us to stay a lot safer. It's gonna help to keep us away from those situations where we zap our horse and we cause him to distrust us. So hopefully that's helpful to you, Patty, and to anybody else out there who's potentially dealing with a similar situation in the cold spells that we've been having around the country this winter. So actually, a question of the day for today: what do you do to deal with that static electricity? I know there's all sorts of products out there and wives' tales and things like that on how to deal with that static electricity in your blankets. Go ahead, give me the answer for that in the comments section below here. I'm really curious. What do you use to help combat that static electricity? So thanks so much for tuning in, guys. Feel free, share this video. If you have a friend that needs this advice, tag them in the comments section below or share this video directly with them. Looking forward to hearing what you've got to say about our question of the day in the comments section below. You keep asking questions. I'll keep talking about horses. Thanks, gang.